Victoria since Crump, the Queen of Real Estate. This week for Team Crumpets, we're doing something a little different. So I want to introduce you first to Bethany South. She is the Development Director for Art for Heart for American Heart Association. And we have Hannah Grogan, the Region Development Consultant for American Heart Association. So thank y'all for coming today.
Thank you.
Yes, and so obviously everybody is affected with people with heart issues. If it's not them, they know someone. Same thing with strokes. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about this. I was nominated to be a leader of impact. So, but before we get into that, if y'all want to talk a little bit about American Heart Association and the Stroke Association, so give a little background.
Well, first of all, I want to start out by saying how truly grateful and honored we are that you were selected as one of our local leaders of impact nominees. And
very appreciative.
Your dedication to Art for Heart is just inspiring, and just watching you thrive in this new role is just been a pleasure to watch.
Well, thank you. So I appreciate it. And you know, I didn't know until recently that American Heart Association, you know, helps the stroke as well. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting too.
So stroke is the fifth leading cause of death in the country, and the American Stroke Association is a part of the American Heart Association.
Yeah.
They separated like our logo and things like that a few years ago, but it's always been an entity of us and always been a priority, because we know that they go together so well. And so things like your blood pressure or eating healthy or stuff like that also has to do with heart health and with stroke awareness, and so they're one and the same.
Yeah, well, I think it's awesome that y'all cover both.
Yes.
And so, well, tell us a little bit about the Leaders of Impact. So I'm really excited that I'm nominated, and so I would like to give them a little bit of a background of that.
Absolutely. So I know a lot of the locals around here, they're familiar with Art for Heart Gala that we have every year. This Leaders of Impact is kind of like a stop along the journey for Art for Heart campaign.
Yeah.
It allows us the opportunity to take the incredible work of the American Heart Association out of the ballroom and putting it into the community. It's a 7-week blind fundraising competition.
I can't tell y'all my fundraising amount, but I definitely need y'all to support me.
all kept secret between the nominees, their team members, and myself. So it's all secretive, and it just makes everything run fairly. But there are 8 local leaders in our area who are competing against each other to raise funds for the American Heart Association.
Yeah, and so and we can ask for team members, and I do have some now that are doing a phenomenal job. I'm really proud of them. And also, if you're interested in becoming a team member, you can definitely reach out to me, and we can get them set up in that. And one thing is, I love that my team name is the Queen of Hearts, so I thought it was very fitting.
Yes.
But it's the name of also, this is I think my 3rd year of doing the sponsored drink for the Art for Heart Gala, and the name of it is Queen of Hearts. So it worked out really well. So, but yeah, I'm very thankful that y'all had reached out to me. I mean, it's a huge honor. Like you said, it's only 8, and I mean, it's impressive that I'm shocked. So I'm very thankful.
Well, along those lines, can you tell us what is your why or your reason for wanting to support the American Heart Association?
Yeah, definitely. So, for instance, I've had family members with heart issues. So, my grandfather, I mean, he had 2 massive heart attacks. I mean, very healthy. You would never look at him like, oh, wow, he could have he's susceptible to a heart attack, and he had 2 massive ones. And then my mother had a birth defect. So, she had instead of a tricuspid aortic valve, she had a bicuspid aortic valve. So, she had to have open heart surgery, and she had a pig valve. She has a pig valve. So, just like that. I mean, who would have ever thought? I mean, and so I ended up, my sister and I both did early in our age, had to have ultrasound things done to make sure we didn't have those. And thankfully we don't. But just even, I was telling you a trip, I went to Italy, well, most of y'all might know. And on the plane over there, I just woke up out of the blue, and I guess they assumed it might have been an anxiety attack, but I woke up and I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I mean, I had to call the stewardess. I was trying not to make a big deal out of it. It's not like we can do an emergency landing in the Atlantic. So, and they didn't want to either. It was in the middle of the night, And it was just so terrifying. And so I was by myself, meeting the people in Italy when I got there. So I was all alone, and I'm just, sweating, I'm nauseous. It was just extremely overwhelming. And so when I got back from, thankfully it subsided, but by that time, you know how dark it is in airplanes and at night. Well, I had turned my TV off, but even the lights from other people's TVs and just how dim it was so bright to me. Like I had to close my eyes. I literally just said a prayer. I was like, please let me wake up, God. Thankfully I did, but it was terrifying. Like I literally thought I was having a heart attack. So when I got back from Italy, I called the cardiologist, and they did all these tests and things of that nature. And thank goodness, they all came out great. Everything was fine. Arteries looked pristine. Thank God. I do like McDonald's. So I had to cut back, obviously. But, just like that, I mean, they were looking at me like, oh, wow, she looks young. I shouldn't be concerned about, her or having a heart attack. But I'm thinking to myself, like, people at my age have heart attacks, So thankfully it must have been just an anxiety attack, probably leaving for a couple of weeks. But just things like that, people just don't realize. And I've known people who have died very early on, early in age from heart attacks, and them just going, oh, that's nothing. I'm not going to worry about that. So I feel like awareness is the biggest thing, and it's just unfortunate sometimes you have to have a personal experience either with a family member or a friend passing, or even with yourself, before you go, I think I might need to get checked out. So I think just having, which we'll talk about in a minute, CPR kits in schools and things of that nature, I think it's just so important, because people just sometimes don't realize they might even have a burst effect.
Absolutely.
And they just think, oh, that person is fine, and they were playing sports, and you hear stories where a child just dropped dead, unfortunately. A lot of times it's been because of the bicuspid valve. So it's interesting. So that's really where my why comes from, those personal experiences and family and myself, unfortunately. But I'm here. I'm good, and I'm here to live another day to help raise funds.
I'm glad you were proactive in getting it checked out, and
yes,
just knowing your history.
Yes, I was.
And knowing the signs and symptoms. A lot of women don't know that, which is a huge thing that we do here locally about awareness. And
and just even strokes, like I had a friend that one time, she was having some type of migraine, but it mimics a stroke, and she was at my house, and I was like, raise your arm, smile. Like, I mean, I called 911 and they came, but I was able to, and she could, she was young. I mean, this is several years ago, so she was about 35 or so, and I'm sitting back like, she is having a stroke, but I was able to raise your arm, smile, try to count, things of that nature, and just things of that. I mean, people sometimes know or don't know, and it can be the cause or death. I mean, life or death situation. Not the but I do feel like it's important for the awareness as well. So, and speaking of that, people that do donate or pay for sponsorships, how is the money allocated? Would it stay locally, or is it spread out throughout the United States?
I can speak to how it is overarching, and then I'll let you speak to the local part. So all of the funds that are donated to the American Heart Association, just as an outright gift or through one of our field campaigns, everything rolls up all to our headquarters underneath our big umbrella budget. After that, funds are distributed across the entire country based on need. And so us being here in Alabama and being a part of the stroke belt and having high blood pressure and other issues like that, we have a lot of needs. Excuse me, I got tongue-tied there. So a lot of those funds come back here locally just naturally because of that. But also in other ways through research. That's our number one thing that we fund. We're the second largest research funder for heart disease and stroke outside of the U.S. government, which is huge.
Oh, wow,
but just other little things like that, like the heart check that's in the grocery store on all of the bottles, the policy and procedures that are in all of our healthcare system, advocacy, all of adding an extra tax onto cigarettes or an extra $1 onto the vending machines with unhealthy snacks. all of those little things are the American Heart Association working in your community.
And I think that's great because, like, I have clients and friends outside the Baldwin County, so hopefully, you know, they will see this is a good reason and a good cause to donate to, and it's good for them to say, hey, you know, just because I'm not in Baldwin County, it is going to benefit where I live as well, as it will be a trickle down effect to that, so that's great. And then as far as like the sponsorships, if someone does want to donate and it stay more locally, they can do that through sponsorships with Art for Heart.
Yes, and one of those ways that they can do that is through the CPR kits in schools and hospitals.
I think those are great.
That is one way to make sure that that money is allocated locally, because you get to choose which school or which hospital you would like those CPR kits to be designated to, which is a huge need in our area as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and just like if they have children, they can donate to a CPR kit to that particular school their children are in. And the good thing about the donations, they are tax deductible, correct? So the sponsorships and the donations are tax deductible, which everybody, you know, needs. So it's also an added benefit, you know, so people are thinking about things of that nature. Not only, I mean, it's because, you know, they might want to be able to go to help with their business expenses and things of that nature, and it's just an added benefit. So I think that's great that it's tax deductible, and it also helps the community and things of that nature. So, and then let's see, what else we had talked about with
I know we talked about different ways that if somebody is interested in supporting Miss Gloria's campaign or any other campaigns, we can touch on that real quick.
So let's tell them how that they can donate.
Yes.
So that's huge.
So you can, all the nominees, they all have their own individual websites that you can go to and make a straight donation through their website link. But if you are wanting to support Miss Gloria and her campaign, we're going to have the QR code on her podcast video, and then we're also going to have her website linked below in the description. You can just follow that and make a straight donation towards her campaign. But she also has the opportunity to do Art for Heart sponsorships. And the best way to do that would probably be to reach out to Miss Gloria or myself and just to see what all different options there are for the sponsorships, because some might be taken, but just contact us. We would be happy to tell you which ones are available.
And then those sponsorships, it would just be due pretty much by Thanksgiving. And then the other donations through the website is December the 4th.
So we can extend the sponsorships through December 4th, but if it's a check, it needs to be turned in a little bit earlier, just so we can make sure that those checks get cleared in time to count towards your campaign. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. Oh, and then also you mentioned the one-day sponsor.
Yes.
So that's something.
That is something really cool too. So if you are thinking like, I want to help and not sure quite how I would like to do that, I don't really want to do a sponsorship, there's another option, which is becoming a one-day sponsor match. Basically, you're just choosing a certain amount that you're saying, I would like to match up to this amount for one day, and you just choose your amount that you would like to match up to, and you can choose the date. As long as it's before December 4th, we're good to go.
Awesome.
But yeah, the best way for that also would be to reach out to myself or Miss Gloria, just to let us know, hey, heads up, we would like to do a one-day match sponsorship. And we can just get that set up for you guys.
Yay. Well, I'm excited, and I appreciate y'all coming and talking about this. I love the fact that y'all have nominated me, so now I need your help so that I'll make them proud and it will save lives. It's just a huge win-win. So, but yeah, there's multiple ways you can donate, you can sponsor, and we just really appreciate all that y'all can do. So thank you. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you so much.